Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So let me start talking about something that is, of course, not going to be talked about much on Western media. So Russia is now announcing that the threat of the use of a dirty bomb is now being reduced. Now, of course, Russia has said that Ukraine planned on doing this, and Ukraine said that Russia plans on doing this. But, and Western governments have been using the claim, oh, well, Russia's, saying that they're going to do something. They always make this claim that someone else is going to do something that they're going to do, and they've used this over and over again. Biological and chemical weapons, when Russia's talking about the biological and chemical labs in Ukraine. Oh, well, Russia's planning on a biological or chemical attack. Never happened. Russia's trying to starve other countries. Russia was far more instrumental in passing the grain deal than Ukraine was. It was Ukraine that had mined their own ports, and Russia helped in implementing a deal to secure transportation of the ships and to help to demine the ship channels. And Ukraine only started demining those channels when they were basically forced to, and then that was in a deal to provide grain for weapons, where Russia did not make any such agreement. But I'll bring all that up in another video that I'm about to do. So, all this stuff, Russia's always, Russia claims, says somebody else is going to do something that, they plan on doing. When have they done this? Name one time that they have done this. It's an absolute lie. Oh, they're going to, and then they never do. What the U.S., the West, always, and NATO always claims Russia is going to do this, and they never do it. Well, when Russia says we're going to do this, you can count on them doing it. But anyway, so what you're not going to hear about in Western media is that when Russia brought this information out about the dirty bomb, what happened was that there were protests in Ukraine against the use of such a weapon, because it would most likely, be set off very definitely in Ukrainian territory to make Ukraine look like a victim of a Russian attack. So the Ukrainian citizens started protesting against the use of such a weapon. In addition, you know very well what happened behind the scenes, which is that Russia told these Western governments that what intelligence they had, what information they had. They couldn't talk directly to Ukraine because Ukraine won't talk directly. So they told all these other Western governments, who went back to the Ukrainian government and said, look, they've got this information. So if you do this, this information will be made public to the entire world. Honestly, that is what I think that Russia should be doing anyway. When this information comes out, publish all of it, every bit of it, every last document, every last recording. Put it all out there. That way, not for the UN, not to other governments. Put it out there for the public. Let independent experts, you know, take a look at this information, including all of the metadata. Every bit of it can be confirmed independently by experts around the world. So the media can always scream that it's falsified. Our government can scream that it's falsified. But when experts around the world start looking at that information, they can verify just how much truth there is to this. So, what was never a threat was that Russia would respond to the use of a dirty bomb by using nuclear weapons. A dirty bomb is not a nuclear weapon. It does not set off a nuclear detonation. It is a radiological weapon. It spreads radiological contamination over a large area. That is why, but it is, as far as an explosive charge, it is only conventional explosives that cause the explosion to occur. So there was never any threat that the use of a dirty bomb was going to result in nuclear warfare, at least not from Russia's use. Now, by contrast, the United States just updated the Nuclear Posture Review, and where Russia has a no first strike policy, they're very clear on what conditions, under what they will use nuclear weapons. If they are attacked with a nuclear weapon, and if they are at threat of the Russian Federation actually being an existential threat to no longer existing. Those are the only two conditions under which the Russian Federation will use a nuclear weapon. And they have had this policy as far back as I can remember, at least for the last 20 years, and possibly, well, yeah, at least the last 20 years. That has been their policy, basically set in stone. There has been no change. By contrast, the new Nuclear Posture Review of the United States is very vague in the conditions under which the United States will use nuclear weapons. The United States is the only nation that has ever used a nuclear weapon against another country, ever. So that Nuclear Posture Review includes such vague statements as responding to a threat of U.S. or its allies' interests. Well, the U.S., that could be applied to trade. Yeah, the United States has military and business interests all around the planet. And then you throw in Germany and France and so forth and so on, all around the planet. So their interests are endless. Anything could be defined as a threat to U.S. or our allies' interests. There is nothing in that Nuclear Posture Review which really places any kind of limitation at all on the U.S. having an excuse to use nuclear weapons. The only thing holding the United States back from using nuclear weapons ever since the 1950s is the fact that, that Russia has nuclear weapons and can respond in kind. And since at least, the 1960s or 70s, China has had nuclear weapons as well and can respond in kind. But both of them have got a no first strike policy, whereas we do not. So they have very well-defined criteria under which they would potentially use nuclear weapons, and it is always in a defensive posture. So, again, we've got, whether by intent or not, what we've got is détente. The only thing holding the United States back from using nuclear weapons on a large scale is détente. In the 1950s, the United States planned on dropping hundreds of nuclear weapons on Russia, on wiping out the entire population of the country. And the United States government, without détente, would do this to China as well. It's not a question. It is all about hegemony. It is all about, the United States empire. Anyway, with this, hopefully, with the threat of the dirty bomb gone, hopefully, now we are another step closer toward peace talks. I'm not counting on it happening anytime soon, but I think that Ukraine has got one last effort up their sleeves, and that is the Kherson offensive, which they are still planning on. They said that it will be over by the end of November, yet they haven't started it yet. Will they ever start it? They're still trying to bomb the dam. Russia has completed, 1, their mobilization of all 300,000 troops. They've got over 130,000 of those troops already in the Donbass region. And it's starting to show because they are pushing the Ukrainian forces back in many areas. There's only one area small area where Ukraine has been advancing slowly. They have also completed the evacuation of all civilians from the Kherson region. So that takes the gloves off. If Ukraine starts an offensive, the Russian forces do not have to, take any precautions to protect civilians in this situation. If that offensive is strong enough, yes, Russia may pull back to preserve their troops and equipment, but that will be a temporary setback. I don't think that that's going to happen at all. I don't think they're going to back down from Kherson at all. I think that this offensive will be defeated quickly, decisively, and permanently. And from there, I expect that Russia is going to actually just keep going and take Odessa, which will leave central Ukraine landlocked. And then there will be no choice but to hold peace talks. Anyway, so that is it for this one. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign. Cross your fingers with me for peace talks to occur. This needs to end. People need to stop dying. I'm really hoping that the Ukrainian soldiers just refuse to fight. So far, I think that has been a major problem with the offensive. Hopefully, that'll just continue on. You can't hold an offensive if nobody wants to fight. All right. share this video, talk about these subjects, and I will catch you in the next one.